Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome to the cityCURRENT Show, where we spotlight individuals and organizations powering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today on the cityCURRENT Show, we're sitting down with Chris LaCorata, founder of Graasi Wellness Water, a mission-driven beverage brand with a surprising origin story. What started as a project to create jobs in Chris's wife's rural hometown turned into a wellness company with a purpose: to offer clean, functional beverages made right here in the United States. Graasi focuses on one of the most overlooked supergreens, barley grass, delivering vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and immune support in every bottle. And today we'll talk about how this power grass is important, why so many so-called health drinks miss the mark, and how Chris is using business to revive communities and spark real economic impact. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Andrew.
Of course. Okay, so I teased a little bit about the origin story. Share how a project to revitalize jobs in your wife's hometown turned into a wellness beverage company.
Yeah, we had a bit of a unique start. I'm originally from manufacturing. I've been in manufacturing for the last 30 plus years, but I got my start in my wife's hometown. We just had gotten married, young couple, but that was a town that was reeling through a series of factory closures and job loss as a result of that. So the town was really struggling to get its footing. And the factory I was working for was scheduled to shut down. So we saw no other alternative. My wife and I relocated, we left, and I spent the next 30 years in manufacturing and saw that very same thing repeated over and over again. These were the years of NAFTA and of outsourcing and all those things, where we were devaluing manufacturing in this country. And I saw firsthand what that was doing to communities, especially smaller communities that where a factory is vital. So I saw that happen over and over again. And as I was growing in my corporate job, I had more and more responsibility for factories across the country, and basically saw that repeated firsthand and up close. And so I just felt like, we have to do something about this because manufacturing matters in this country. So in 2017, I had a chance to hang up my corporate hat and did so. And I went out on a mission, and I said, I'm going to try to do something. I don't know what I can do, but I am going to try to do something. So for me, the start point was going back to my wife's hometown. I called up the local industrial development agency, introduced myself. To their credit, they actually picked the phone up. And we talked through it a little bit, and I said, here's what I'd like to try to do. What do you think? And they said, come on up. And we did, and what ended up happening 2 years later, we ended up having a lot of collaboration with local stakeholders, government people, congressmen, state senators, you name it, even a local university. And we developed what we called a vertically integrated grower processor that was custom fit for that community. And it was estimated to create about $90 million in economic activity in the community. This is a small community, about 400 jobs, and benefit about 250 farmers. So we thought that was the right model, and we were in the tail end of the last few things we had to do to get ready to launch that business, and the pandemic hit. And it happened to be in a state where the shutdown policies were pretty aggressive, and we just could not see where the project was going at that point. We couldn't forecast when potentially things would simmer down enough for us to kick it back in. So we just decided to put the whole thing on hold. But as the pandemic was wearing on, we saw more and more that consumers were looking for healthier products, less processed, and especially as it related to immunity. And since this was a processing plant that we were looking to launch, we learned a lot around barley and other grains, but barley especially. And I was always impressed by its long-standing medicinal benefits. So we decided, you know what, the only thing we're going to be able to do here is just pivot and create a brand and go direct to market that way. And we spent about a year developing the brand, getting that correct, and making sure that it did answer consumers' requests around immunity. We thought it did. And we launched into market in 2021. And as I say, the rest is history.
you launch Graasi. It's important to be made in the United States for obvious reasons. Source from trusted ingredients. Talk about what that process was like, and then how barley grass actually plays into this beverage.
Yeah, we knew what we wanted, and we knew what we wanted for a final result, and we knew we wanted a product that would play in the wellness space. And we wanted something that, especially, we wanted something that the consumers could trust, because coming out of the pandemic, people's trust in corporate America was shaken badly, right?
Yeah.
So all of that, we wanted to make sure we had a trusted product that actually had a benefit. So we started with, as I said, the Graasi. As we actually use in our base barley grass juice powder, and we chose that because it's not the grain; it's what they call the tender young grass. That's harvested at its peak of nutrients. Great for detoxifying the body, the liver, the bloodstream, the gastrointestinal tract. It has all of the essential amino acids and most of the non-essential amino acids, and is known to help with free radicals. So we thought that was a great base, and it has long medicinal histories that we could prove. And there's a seminal work from Dr. Hagawara, who's a Japanese scientist who did a deep dive into barley, and he calls it the ideal fast food. So we really felt we had something there. And when we looked at the market, we didn't see any barley brands out there of the kind that we were looking for. And then we went the additional rigor of organic, and that was to try to, number one, create a good trusted brand, but also to have faith in what we were producing, and that all the additional steps that you have to take to be certified organic, it goes literally from the soil all the way through to packaging. So you have all these additional steps, and everybody who touches the product all the way up has to be certified organic and audited that they are keeping up on the standards and the policies and procedures. So we really liked all of that. We thought that fit the bill for the day in what consumers were looking for, and we went after it that way. And as far as producing inside the States, that was a no-brainer, right? So we wanted to make sure everything, if we're going to be committed to U.S. manufacturing, make sure all your ingredient suppliers, all your other suppliers, your producers, even in your fulfillment houses, warehouses, all those things, all in the States, all run by U.S. People and companies, and that's our commitment to the United States and to the brand.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. And being able to offer this product that is so beneficial, not only with barley grass, but the formula also includes vitamins like C, D, zinc for immunity.
Mm-hmm.
I can assume that that was such a specific combination and help as you saw launching during the pandemic, but also then after, how we all need those so bad. I know many of my family members are deficient in vitamin D. And so having a product like this, a beverage like this, is so important. Talk about why adding those immunity aspects into the beverage was just paramount.
Well, because coming out of the pandemic, immunity, especially natural immunity, was top of mind, was being discussed quite a bit. And when you think about what the body needs for its own defense, we were trying to focus on not just masking a symptom, but how do we create a brand that the body actually can use to fight its own battle? Because your body can do it if you give it what it needs, right? So we really wanted to focus on that. And the ingredients that we chose, especially DC and zinc for immunity, that's well known for immunity boost, natural immunity boosting. The other thing I would mention too, Andrew, is we wanted to make sure it was low calorie, and that it had very, very low sugar counts, because the other part that we wanted to address here is that we have an epidemic in this country with diabetes. And it's one of the top chronic diseases, and in the top industrialized nations in the world. We rank number one in the cost of our healthcare system, but we rank last in the health of our citizens. So, and diabetes is at the top of that list, and there's some 39 million Americans that have diabetes. And when you add in the pre-diabetic people, you're going over 90 million. So that's literally more than the population of Canada. So, and 1 in 5 children that are considered obese. So we wanted to make sure that we had that right as well. So we're only 35 calories. And what's considered to be, that the average soft drink is almost 40 grams in sugar.
Yes.
We're, what's considered low sugar in the world today is about 8 to 10 grams. We're 4 grams. And
Wow.
it's really just a finishing agent for us, and it's done through organic ingredients. So we wanted to make sure we hit every one of those things. So when people go to grab for a Graasi, or they want to grab something, an alternative from the beverage industry, we want to stand as a healthy, trusted brand, and that's what we did.
Well, as a type 2 diabetic, I can totally agree with that. And I think that is so important. And when I look at some of these beverages that my family and friends drink, and I'm like, you just drank way more than a day's worth of sugar in one drink than I am supposed to have in a day, or really what we're supposed to have in a day. And so to
Right.
be able to not only trust what you're drinking, but know that it's at not only a quality level, but also at a level where it's not going to make you feel groggy. It's going to energize you. It's going to provide you with immunity. It's not going to be full of sugar at all is incredible. What are some of the testimonials, or what are you hearing from some of your customers about the impact of Graasi on their wellness routines in everyday life?
You know what we hear a lot of, Andrew? We hear a lot that people, drink it for hydration, basically. But we do hear a lot of, we love that it's light. It doesn't taste grainy, because I think some people, there's a view that it could be a grainy kind of drink. It's not. It's very light, very refreshing, and they love the fact that it helps them with that. We do hear a lot around recovery. We had believe it or not, we had a mixed martial art club, a professional mixed martial art club, call us and say, you know what, we like your brand, and we're always looking for healthy products for our fighters. Could you send us some samples? And we did, and they loved it, and we sponsor them now. Believe it or not, their agency, but we hear a lot from them, and we have a lot on our YouTube site. We hear a lot from them on their recovery after a hard workout. They really love that it's easy to drink. It's very hydrating, but it's also good in quick recovery, and also boosting their immunity after a hard workout so they can stay strong. Those are the things we hear a lot.
I love that. That's so cool to then. What I mean, I can assume, but what brings a smile to your face when you look at the work that you're able to do with this product and beverage, and then bring it to market and then see people not only consume it but thrive because of it?
I love it, because we cannot, we're on a bad track as a nation right now for the health of our people. It can't continue. But good news, Andrew, is not. By all indications, we're seeing a number of very big events and a lot of energy going toward a number of things, and wellness is one.
Mhm.
And obviously, gut health, cognitive health, all those things, just general health conditions. And then you have the Maha movement, right, which is beginning to focus a lot on ingredients and other things. So you see that happening, and we now start to see the wholesale channels and even the convenience channels. They're the guys to watch, the convenience channel, because they are making more noise right now about going wellness than some of the other people. So you are seeing that happen out there. So the push has begun, and our job as an industry is to deliver on it. We can't keep pushing out 40 grams of product with sugar in it, or even higher than that. There are some more.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can't keep doing that. We have to kind of come back to what's a little healthier for the nation, or at least have alternatives for people to try and use. If you want to go full on sweet, then okay, that's your choice. But we'd like to have, and we want to play that role of be standing there as a trusted alternative if you choose to do that. So for us, you're going to hydrate anyway. Might as well hydrate with benefits.
Yeah, definitely. And what's so unique that you said that about convenience stores is I've noticed that traveling throughout the country this past year, specifically going in, obviously as a type 2 diabetic, I'm looking at, what has zero sugar, no sugar or low sugar. And I've been increasingly optimistic on what I see in there because, there would be days where growing up where I'd go in and grab a Jones soda that was full of dyes and had 60 grams of sugar, and I'm just slinging those back with my friends. Um, and now I'm going in there and I'm seeing the amount of options available that are much more low to no sugar that seem to be definitely part of that Maha movement, but also realizing that as a country we can't be sustainable with 100% obese people, right? Or with issues when it comes to all of the morbidities that have been just entrenched in our lives and what we're doing. So kudos to you and your team to offer such a great beverage that functions not only to heal, but also hydrate too. What advice would you give other entrepreneurs who want to build a brand with both purpose and profit in mind?
Yeah, I would say number one, understanding that this, especially if you're going to pick the food and beverage industry, it is hyper competitive. And it's about to go through, in my mind, some wrenching changes, and that's driven by some of the purchasing habits of the different demographic groups. Obviously you have baby boomers that have been around for a long time. They were the biggest group, but now they're handing off to the demographic groups below them who have purchase power, all the way down to the millennials, but have a very different view of products and markets. And of course, the millennials and Gen Zs, they are digitally adept, technically, sharp. So purchasing online is going to be something that we're going to pay attention to. But I would say number one, it's a very, very, very competitive industry, and it's changing as we speak. And there's going to be a lot of product proliferation, consolidations, and shutdowns, and ramp ups, all kinds of things that are going to be happening in the next couple of years. So understand that's part of it. The second thing is it's a long journey that I would tell them. It really is building a brand and cutting through the noise. Even just 12 years ago, the amount of noise because of online, the online world is immense today. So cutting through that and being able to, people to hear your brand, that's important to understand. So it's a long journey. But the second thing is I would say is that get your product right. Don't just, build a product for what consumers want today. Try to see if you could be somewhere on the trajectory of trends. And if you can, create a product that, the market's going to keep moving toward. So you're relevant today and tomorrow, and for the future. So I think that's an important one. The other thing I would say, Andrew, is that don't overlook online selling. It's something that, the food and beverage industry has been very slow to adopt for a lot of reasons, because of the legacy wholesale supply chains and stuff like that, distributors and supermarkets, things like that. But that's changing. So don't overlook it. Don't get behind on it. I would say right from the start, look at what your strategy would be there. And on top of that, you can go right to the consumer. You go right to your customer.
Yeah.
So very important to build that relationship. So I would say that. Then the last thing is really around, don't be too concerned. It is a journey. There are going to be days you're going to have your head in your hand going, why did I do this? And it's just take it a day at a time. Just take the next day, do what you can do, but keep moving. Get the product right, online selling, understand you're in a big universe. You got to cut through the noise, get the product right. And try not to drive yourself crazy, because that can happen. It's a very competitive industry, and will continue to be so as far as I can see.
I can definitely see that. And I also really think that what you just shared is so important for entrepreneurs, business owners, and all people, even college students going into their careers, and what they can glean from that. So where do you see Graasi in the next 5 years, both in terms of product innovation and community impact?
Community impact, let's start there. To the degree we don't have our own operations now, we're still a young brand. But I'm from that world. So I think somewhere along the way, we're going to have to make a decision. Do we produce or not? If we do produce and have our own brick and mortar plants, we will commit to having that be in communities that it can make a difference to. And I'm a big believer in opportunity zones in the country. They're there for a reason. They're highlighted for a reason, of course. And to whatever degree we can help a community revitalize itself, I'd love to do that. Also a big believer in repurposing factories. If it's a downed factory and it's vacant, and you can repurpose it, I think that does a lot for the local psychology, right? If you can do that. So for me, it's deciding to do operations and deciding to do that. In the meantime, to whatever degree I can continue, Andrew, to be a voice, and that can, look at some of the detail, or I can provide you some of the detail of why manufacturing is important. Because really, if we could just bring it down to just the impact, the influence of just one factory. During that period we talked about, we lost some 70,000 factories, some 5.5 million manufacturing jobs. If you could understand, if we could do an education in the country about the impact of just one factory on a community, it has an impact and an influence far, deep, and wide. It is a force multiplier like no other industry. You can't replace a factory with a call center and get the same impact, right? So if we can really coalesce around what the impact and influence of just one factory is, then the mere thought of losing and having 72,000 of them vanish should be alarming to everybody.
Absolutely.
So to the degree I can help be that voice or help add to that voice for a while to educate and to make sure that let's not do this again, that would be great. But in the meantime, our company, we are going to continue to grow the brand. We do have line extensions, 4 of them already done. So we have new flavors coming out. We're going to do 2 more water brands that are ready to go. And we have 2 lemonades that are going to be coming out as well. And we do also have a tonic that's coming out. So, and we are considering powder. So we're continuing to expand the base, and we're going to continue to expand the company, but do so at a rate where we can hold the line, so to speak. And that is that make sure the quality of our products, the quality of our customers, and the quality of our partners are all things that are in line with our mission.
You are such an industry leader when it comes to manufacturing, and it's so great to have the insight that you brought today, not only for Graasi, but just the importance of factories in your community. I think I've heard and have interviewed so many people that they moved or their family had to move places because a factory closed. So imagine, you know what that impact's like. Imagine what the impact is on the reverse when factories open and people are flocking to towns because they're able to make a living wage and they're able to bring purpose to spaces and community through the work that they're doing. It's a no-brainer for many, and hopefully as we continue to preach about the importance of U.S. manufacturing. Chris, where can people go to purchase Graasi, to learn more about your brand and learn more about you?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing is we sell online on our own site, graasi.com, graasi.com. We also sell on Walmart's marketplace. We also sell on Amazon. And if you happen to be a distributor or a retail outlet, we're on what's called SFP, Specialty Food Partners, so they can pick us up B2B on that platform. And we do have select distributors, mostly in the Northeast right now, but continuing or on the East Coast, generally speaking. And we are expanding on that every day. But the easiest thing to do is go to graasi.com, and we do have a Q&A section. And we are across all of social media, and we do have videos on YouTube, which is we have an intro video and an educational video there as well, and then a series of influencer videos, and that's where our fighters are as well, if you'd like to see that.
Very cool. Well, Chris, thank you so much for the work that you're doing to bring a mission-driven beverage brand built right here in the United States. Thank you for all the work that you're doing and for powering the good in our community and around the globe.
My pleasure, Andrew. Thank you. Thanks for the time today.